Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the Dungeon Master's Guide, a Dungeons & Dragons and Mazurkana production. Welcome to 2019. This is the very first episode of 2019. And if you're curious about what the heck Dungeon Master's Guide is about, well, first, it's a book that teaches Dungeon Masters how to be Dungeon Masters. Second, this show, we are going to show you how easy it is to come up with an adventure by showing you. Today, we're going to make an entire adventure, and then at the end, eventually, probably a month from now, we're going to put it on the DM's Guild for you to play. Today, we have two guests. We have Amy Vorpahl, as seen on Nerdist and Geek and Sundry and AMC Theaters. And second, we have Ryan Omega, the DM for Arcana High, a Mazurkana production, and Life Action Roleplay, the podcast. I'm Satine Phoenix. I'm your host. And before we start in the adventure creation, there's a couple little things I need to talk about. First, there's a lot of firsts. I just like pointing a lot. We have a raffle. We're going to raffle off the Dungeon Master's Guide book in the chat. So be in the chat. ! Raffle. TK is our mod for today, our lead mod for today, amongst the other mods that are in there. Thank you all very much for your time. So there's a couple things. We'll be drawing the raffle randomly at the end of the show, so keep your eyes peeled. You must be in chat to win, and you have to message TK after winning and make sure that she gets all your information. There's no location limitations, and we'll send it anywhere in the world. Secondly, DM questions. So we're going to ask our DMs 3 questions at the end of the show. So put your questions into chat using questions right before your question in all caps so that TK can easily find them. And we'll be curating them. So include your questions, but be smart about it. Don't ask unrelatable questions. There are no stupid questions. There's just unrelatable questions. So today's theme is, and I hope our guests are listening, theme is for level 4 to 6 characters for mind-bending adventure. And this is an all-in-one adventure. So there's not going to be a part 2 or part 3. This is just a one-shot level 4 to 6. So we're going to talk a little bit before they come on the show about compassion in communication. Now it's 2019. It's the first Sunday of 2019. This is a day to relax and come up with adventures and think about what you want for your players in the new year. And it's a good time to set up the foundation with understanding. How hard is it to find players? It's pretty hard to find players. Some of you prefer to play in person, and maybe you live in an area that it's just the amount of people who are open about playing D&D, there's just not many of them. And you look and maybe you can only find people on Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or another online source. Whatever it is, however you find people, you've not only dedicated yourself to running a game for all these people, but you've dedicated yourself to run a game for other people who are volunteering their free time. It's your free time and their free time. And hashtag 2019 ain't got time for that. There's not much time available outside of surviving this world. So everyone volunteers their time at the table, but the other part to remember is off the table. All the things that you do. You make the story, you prepare the encounters, you try to time everything right. NPCs, the terrain, the sounds. Thanks, Sirenscape, for making this so easy. The players, though, they not only dedicate their time to show up, but they dedicate their time to create the characters that play in your story. And it's not your story, it's all of your story. It's the collective story. So they make their characters, they come up with the voices, the backgrounds, artwork. They find artwork and find sounds that inspire them to be completely present when you guys all are at the game table. Not only that, but they think about ways to work with their fellow players. So nobody just shows up with a piece of paper. There's so much more thought put into it for you and for the players. So everybody invests their time and energy into a shared collaborative experience. The importance of setting expectations is it's just so important. You have to set expectations before the game starts. What kind of story are other people investing themselves into? How long is the campaign expecting to go? What is the actual time investment that you require from them? So I was thinking about this, and I'm a comic book artist by trade, and I remember selling my first comic book at WonderCon, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching all these people walk around, and I've got all my piles of books, and I'm so excited, and people are coming by and then they're walking away. And they'll come by and they're like, I really love the art. Thank you. And then walking away. I'm like, wow, I wonder what it's about. And this woman came up. She's about 10 years older than me. It's a little mousy woman, and she's like, she started asking about the characters. She talked about how much she liked the art. And then she basically, right before she walked away, said that she didn't want to invest her time and energy into a story that wasn't going to be completed, and that, if there were more books, then she would be happy to buy them. So I thought about that a lot, and I did a couple more conventions that year, and was like, okay, I'm not going to take it personally that people aren't buying my book. And then the next year, I had 2 other books come out. She bought all of them, and it really made me think about how important the expectations of the story that you are offering to share with other people. You have to set up those expectations. So really saying, hey friends, I would love to run a campaign for you. You can expect the first run of the campaign to be 4 sessions. And then after that, let's talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, if you want to keep going or not. I think that's going to be really good for all of us to go into the new year thinking about, because we've all experienced falling in love with a TV show, and it gets canceled, and it breaks your heart, and the story's never finished, and you wonder if ever there's going to be a big comeback. Firefly. No, there's not going to be. So set those expectations early. Communicate with your players. See what they like as you go along. Don't expect that everything's going to be fine. Reach out to them. Figure out ways to talk to them. Figure out how to communicate with them so that everyone's needs are met, because everyone invests their time with the expectation that their needs for a complete shared collaborative experience are going to be met. And that is what I have to say about that. So we're going to go on a short commercial break and then follow that up, or I don't know what the order is because Andre's a genius and I just say words. Then there's going to be a musical interlude by our Sirens, our Not So Live Sirens band. And then we will return with Amy Vorpahl and Ryan Omega.
Laughed in the face of evil. We'll steal from the hands of gods.
We've taken out 60 liches and sold all their staves, wands, and rods.
We cut off the heads of Tiamat. We plucked out the eye of Grumsh.
We've taken out 70 mind flayers. Yeah, we eat storm giants for lunch.
We're Hellclaw and Snakefire. Don't ever can't deny. We've laughed in the face of evil. We'll steal from the hands of gods.
We've taken out 60 liches and sold all their staves, wands, and rods.
We cut off the heads of Tiamat. We plucked out the eye of Grumsh.
We've taken out 70 mind flayers. Yeah, we eat storm giants for lunch.
We're hellclaw and snake fire. Don't ever cross our path. Don't ever catch our eye. We're hellclaw and snake fire. And deep within your darkest heart, we're the ones you can't deny. We pillaged our way through your city. Picked the pockets of all of your rubes.
We frantically canned 50 manticores and 80 gelatinous cubes.
We spat in the face of Odin. We kicked Mephistopheles' butt.
We've taken out 90 beholders, and all with a dagger, so what?
We're hellclaw and snake fire. Don't ever cross our path. Don't ever catch our eye. We're hellclaw and snake fire. And deep within your darkest heart, we're the ones you can't deny. We're the ones you can't deny. We're the ones you can't deny. We're the ones you can't deny.
Thank you for sticking around for the Dungeon Master's Guide. Are you ready for an adventure? We're gonna make an adventure, and we have here with us today Amy Vorpahl and Ryan Omega. Yay!
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you for inviting me. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I know you super well, but why don't you share with everyone who you are?
Great. I'm Amy Vorpahl. I'm a writer, actress, host, singer-songwriter, and I've been on lots of different, especially geeky digital content, Nerdist, Geek and Sundry, also AMC Theaters and BuzzFeed and College Humor, doing all variety of nerdy stuff. And I'm a Sirens of the Realms alum. I think Khalid gets a mention here every once in a while as well.
Yeah, once a siren, always a siren.
Okay, I'm still a Sirens of the Realm. And most recently, I was able to actually dungeon master a holiday adventure for D&D Beyond around the Christmas holidays. And I also got to play with Chris Perkins on his Extra Life D&D Beyond Game Hole Con, crazy, out of control game. I've been playing D&D for 20 years and been GMing only for the past 2 or 3 years.
I heard that you were contagious during that game, and that other people started picking up your accent.
Well, chat made them. I don't think anyone wanted to have the derpy voice, but it was the one that Patrick Rothfuss was suffering from, trying to deliver on these accents that chat was giving him. He nailed Russian, and then the only one he actually really nailed was my character's voice.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Ryan, who are you?
I am Ryan Omega. You may have seen me on Arcana High, which I DM'd on Maze Arcana. I also appeared on Fury's Fate, run by Rudy Runberg, as Dr. Imporo Malagafi, the Choltan Doctor, and with such a Filipino accent.
You're right, what you know.
To me. Like when I saw it, I was like, those are my people. That was the village I was born in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, including the mall.
The mall, this SM Mega Mall.
The Mega Mall in Jolt. Yeah, it's totally played into that. And aside from that, I also have a podcast called Live Action Roleplay, a LARP podcast, which is all about live action roleplay. And I co-host that with Cynthia Marie from Sirens of Realms and Kai Norman from Inkwell Society. So it's all one big family here at Maze and on Live Action Roleplay.
Yeah. So I actually had you guys roll before we started, but I was so excited to introduce you to everybody that I forgot what the rolls were. However, Amy rolled a 12.
I do remember I
Brian
rolled
rolled a 2. So you just knew that was, I think you knew inside that your role was to see who was going to go first in introducing themselves.
Oh, no, I had no idea. I was about to, I had no idea if that was good or bad, because sometimes that can turn on its head. So I assumed that 12 was better than 2, but you never assume in D&D.
I don't know. I just usually assume in 5e, like just in general, 12 is better than 2. There could be exceptions, but we're here.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, 12 is better than 2. 12 donuts, any snacks, amount of people.
I know.
Yeah, just that amount is kind of kind of better.
Hashtag roll for friends. Okay. I have 2 friends.
And they're right here.
And we are going to spend this time making an adventure, the 3 of us. And our friends in the audience are going to enjoy and watch, but this is us and our brains. And they're going to watch our brains go zing, 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 zing.
Okay.
So, the theme is levels 4 to 6, mind-bending adventure. My friends, we have less than 30 minutes. How do we begin?
We heard you say this earlier in the stream, and we kind of talked that maybe this was as far as genre goes, it's going to sink into fairy tale land.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of thought a theme like fairy tales would be at least fun for someone who is not super familiar, but has some experience behind them to do this kind of adventure. And I wanted a scenario where they couldn't solve everything by fighting, and around level 4 to 6 is a good place for that.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So now we just go?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I guess I like to think of like what the final villain is, and normally the final villain is someone they know and kind of have been in league with the whole time, but they turn out to be kind of the bad thing. So they kind of help that person. This is just basic, and then turn it on its head, and then that person's like, "Thank you, I'll take that now." And they're like, "Oh, great! And here's your money, and now I'm going to go kill the world." And they're like, "No, wait, stop, kill."
It's like Little Red Riding Hood was actually the evil villain the entire time.
Oh my God! Okay, so Little Red Riding Hood.
Are we doing that?
Yeah,
Is
we're
that-
doing Little Red Riding Hood.
okay.
And that goes with your banshee thing that you were talking about earlier too. So Little Red Riding Hood is like a secret banshee.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna actually look up banshee because I'm one of those people who actually do use CR. We were talking about that too, and I do the calculations. And I also use a site called Kobold Fight Club that helps out quite a bit too. You can plug in the number of players that you have, the number of levels that they have, and it'll tell you like what's a medium difficulty, easy, hard, deadly. So let's see what a banshee is.
Oh my goodness.
Because we're doing 3, 4 to 6. Okay, so this is a CR4.
4 characters.
With 4 characters, level 4. That seems like it would be. Maybe we should do 2.
Yes.
And it's the final boss.
Final boss.
Final
okay.
boss. So it's like Little Red Riding Hood and her sister.
Right.
Or
Little Gold Riding
Or
Hood.
Little Red Riding Hood and her grandma.
And her grandma! It's the grandma! Oh my gosh.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
Or should we do a banshee and like the wolf? Because the wolf like ate Red Riding Hood, so it's like they kill the wolf and then they have to also fight Red Riding Hood. Like they kill the wolf and then Red Riding Hood, and she's like, thank you, you saved me. And then they have to fight her too.
Right, and you know, by defeating the wolf, she now devours its soul. This is now mine.
Okay. Yes.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Yes. Okay. So
Wow.
final boss. you think it's the werewolf.
So we have the werewolf is grandma. Is that what we said?
No, the werewolf already killed grandma. Oh, you're right. He doesn't eat Red Riding Hood. He eats the grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they're fighting.
What if grandma's
I think
a
they're
werewolf?
fighting. Yes, I think they're fighting.
So grandma is a werewolf.
Yes, grandma is
Yes.
a werewolf. That's challenge level 3. So I think they're. But also we add the banshee in too, and I think
Yes.
that will do the trick.
Yes.
Okay, here's what the final boss is. They fight the werewolf because it's evil, and then it shapeshifts back into grandma, and they realize, oh shit, we might have killed the wrong thing. And Red Riding Hood's like, no, you killed the right thing. This is what I wanted all along. In fact, I'm going to infect everyone with lycanthropy. And they're like, no, you can't do that. And then they have to kill Banshee Red Riding Hood.
Yes. Okay. Well, there you go. There's our story.
That makes sense? Okay.
Okay, so we have the different parts. Say that this adventure is 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
So how do we
do we get
turn
going?
this into an actual 2 to 3 hour adventure?
Okay, yeah. So they have to. This whole land is kind of a small cottagey village, right?
Right, yeah.
Where there's like a market town. I think they weren't necessarily. They were called to this city to investigate something that had been going wrong.
Right. Like, I guess a bunch of people turning into puppies.
A bunch of people turning into puppies.
Because it sounds cute. Like, okay, I want to investigate this thing that seems completely innocuous.
Yeah. Maybe Little Red Riding Hood thought that. Oh, right.
And then
Because
she
puppies
could
is
raise
where.
them. She's raising them for her army of puppy people.
Yes, but she has implored. But there is someone who is going to stop her, and it's her grandma. Her grandma wants to stop her. So Little Red Riding Hood has asked the adventurers to come and help her. Basically, because all of these puppies are turning into, or all the people are turning into puppies, and she needs to stop it turning into puppies, even though it's her all along.
Right. You need to bust out of that puppy farm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so overworked. And it's expensive to raise puppies.
And all that poop.
And all the poop.
No one cleans up after the poop.
She's got an endless list of why puppies are bad. So yes, Little Red Riding Hood implores the adventurers to come and solve this puppy dilemma when really it's a lycanthropy dilemma.
Yes.
Which I love any were things in here. Were rats. They're these humanoid wares.
List puppy problems.
Yeah, list of puppy problems. Ideally, the adventurers are game, right? They're going to help this sad little girl who will make her like a cute age, like 14. And
Oh, yeah.
like she's not worldly wise. She needs help.
She needs help.
But she looks like she's like 11. To make it worse,
yeah.
right? She's just like,
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. What are... Oh, and banshees are fucked up. So she wears her hood to hide her bansheeism. Oh, I can't. Can I curse? Oh, well, I did.
yeah, they're fine.
But yeah, so they're all white and like undead and whatever, but she wears her hood to hide that she looks crazy.
There's also this thing called makeup.
Yeah, she just
Maybe
wears a
her
lot of
cheeks are
makeup.
like extra rosy and her lips are like extra pink.
Yeah,
so
but
it's
in a
just like
childish way.
Yeah, and that like I'm a little doll kind of way.
Or the hood is an artifact.
Yes, it is. Oh,
The
yes.
artifact is artifact. Yes.
Yes.
Like a cloak
robe
of-
illusion or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the list, but something like that.
Okay, so it's a cloak of.
Make it a legendary or no rare item.
Yeah, rare item. Because
Okay.
if
We'll call it a cloak of illusion.
All right.
Make up stuff.
Yeah.
Rare item, cloak of illusion, and it's kind of a perma illusion spell kind of thing that makes her younger and more youthful. So they get there to town, and the town. Oh, it should be called something cute.
I don't know, like almost like one of those village bulletin boards.
Yeah, Thornville.
Yeah, Thornville. Yeah, Thornville.
Thornyville. So it's called Thornville, and she definitely wrote to them. She targeted them, I think, right? Because they have to be there for a reason. And what is she offering for a reward to solve the puppy problem?
Well, in old
Money.
Well, yeah, money. But I was thinking in old Red Riding Hood, she brought a bottle of wine to Grandma, so it would probably be like this really rare old wine that someone.
That has some magical powers too.
Maybe it's like one of those bottles of Everflowing.
Okay.
You know?
Oh yes, ever-flowing wine, or like a sip of Fountain of Youth thing, because that's kind of her brand.
Oh.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
like on her brand now.
Because he's delivering it to grandma.
Yes. Yes. Yes, and she's like, well, grandma, you know what? Grandma's gonna die, so you guys can have this just to solve the puppy problem, because I only have one bottle, and it feeds 4 adventurers.
I know.
So yeah, so the reward is bottle of youth.
Okay, so
Potion-y.
real quick, what does that bottle? What does the liquid in it do exactly?
Let's say it adds 100 years to your life.
Oh.
Something crazy like that. Something really valuable.
That's good.
Yeah.
But does it make you younger, or does it extend on the back end?
I think it extends on the back end.
I think it stands on the back end.
So
So
almost like it elongates your life, so you
Elongates
age
your
slower,
life.
type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's a good one.
Yeah, you can still
I'm
die.
using
You
that.
can still die by stab and all
Oh
that.
yeah. It won't save you from
It
that.
won't
but-
save you from disease either. But hey, extra 100 years?
Okay, so we
Grandma
have
wishes.
the problem.
Yes.
What's next?
Okay, so
We've got the different parts.
okay, they get to Thornville. She's got to show them. So we need to go. We need to get them to. We need to get them to someone sad, like whose
Right.
kid actually did get turned into a puppy, and they're like mourning that. Well, we need an encounter too.
Okay, so an encounter where they meet up with this girl, and I guess it has to be on their journey to grandma's house.
Yeah. What if it's someone super powerful who doesn't want the adventurers there? Like they're like, it's such a like. Okay, how they're pretty combative. Like, how are you going to solve this problem? That's my son in there. You're going to kill. They like assume that they're going to kill the puppies or like experiment on them or something. Maybe Red Riding Hood, we learn later, has tainted the well of the town. And well, why would she want them dead? She wouldn't really want them dead.
No, she wants puppies.
Yeah, she wants them to.
Wait, so does she want the puppies, or does she not want the puppies?
She wants to keep the puppies in this lycanthropy going.
Right.
She needs to thwart Grandma, who's trying to thwart Red Riding Hood. So she's come up with this ruse that Grandma's the problem. But since Grandma has already infected these puppies and they can infect other people, she no longer needs Grandma. Does that track? That's too
Oh,
complicated,
so
isn't it?
basically, Grandma infected somebody, and then that person infected other people, and now she's trying to like control the herd and like
Yes.
get Grandma out of the way so that she can
Because
start having
Grandma
them.
realizes that her lycanthropy is actually like it's a problem. It shouldn't. She never wanted to bite anybody. You know, she didn't mean to, and
She just wanted the puppies.
Grandma didn't want the puppies.
No,
even
well,
better.
but-
So Little Red Riding Hood's growing up, and Grandma just wanted someone else to take care of.
And this is revenge.
No, simple nurturing. She
Oh,
just
okay.
wanted another puppy. She just wanted someone that she could be a werewolf with.
Okay.
But then Little Red Riding Hood's growing up and doing her own thing, and maybe Grandma's like, "You're weird now. You're actually becoming weird." So like she bites the puppy, or she bites the kid, but that kid starts biting other kids. Whereas Little Red Riding Hood's like, "I could have a puppy army of lycanthropes, and I can control them and raise them to listen to me." And so she needs to get rid of Grandma.
Okay. Okay. I'm a little lost. So who's the bad guy? Grandma. No. Red Riding Hood's still bad.
Red Riding Hood's the ultimate bad guy.
Yes.
Bad guy.
But
Got it.
she convinces you that Grandma's the bad guy. But all Grandma wanted was just to raise another kid.
Yeah, but and it's kind of revenge too. If Little Red Riding Hood didn't necessarily want to be a lycanthrope, you know, initially,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Well, you made me this way. Now I'm gonna take it. Now I'm gonna lean in." Okay.
Ah, okay. So
It's
it's,
like
kind
when-
of legacy revenge type
Yeah,
story.
because you
Yeah.
know, like parents are like your parents, and then you raise the kid, and then they're like, "Oh, you're a pain in my butt," and then the kid has a kid, and the grandparents are always like, "Oh, you're a baby. I'm gonna spend all my time with you," and then the kid's like, "Yeah, okay, all that attention." You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's like the grandma just wants that connection of like taking care of a baby, but then Little Red Riding Hood's like, also that's
So
like,
while Red Riding Hood is growing this army, she's blaming it on. She's like, "Oh, my grandma's like spreading this disease, and she needs to be stopped." But it's really Red Riding Hood, and the real reason for her getting rid of Grandma is because grandma's also, she's trying to stop the army from growing.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Great. That makes sense to me. No, this is amazing. Now, but we do need like an initial, either a puzzle or like an RPG encounter. Like initially before we get to the bad guy too.
I'm thinking that maybe if some of these, like, I guess, older puppies come in and attack the village in the direction from grandma's.
Yes, like on arriving into the town, immediately they see the problem, and it's like werepuppies.
Right.
That's great because you've gotten the letter, you're on the way in. Before you get to Red Riding Hood, you experience
The problem. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so we'll just say it's werepuppies. There's no real, we'll give them stats for something.
Right. And that's a few more enemies.
But it's a few more enemies. These are, so werewolves already CR3, but I wonder what a were-rat is. Maybe we could like do a were-rat CR2 and then,
skin
but
it?
like, skin it as it's, so it's like maybe 4 that's still a lot, maybe 3 were-rats. Oh my God, a were-boar is CR4.
Wow.
Yeah, but skin like some were-rats.
Like, yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Depending on how big your party is.
And like make them be attacking children. Like super heartstringy.
Yeah, because really, maybe they're just kids, but then they wear out of conflict.
They wear out. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. I love that. Okay, so that's what they save the children. They kill some children. Wear puppies in the midst. Yeah, it's dark.
It's
It's
dark,
fun
yeah.
immediately.
No, this
Wow.
is good.
Okay, cool.
This is good.
And then
So and then they go to Red Riding Hood.
Right.
And they have that conversation.
yes, where she's telling them, this has been a problem for a little while.
Go to grandma, take grandma out.
Yeah. And then probably, depending on the health level of the party, like some encounter between the village and Little Red Riding Hood, because it's supposed to be, I imagine that place is going to be very remote, because you don't exactly want to infect.
Oh my God, okay,
everybody.
what if can we build a mob so the town actually is aware of what happened? They thought they were saving people, but the town is aware that they killed the puppies that used to be their children. So there's this this mob kill the beast type thing that like,
you were the beast because you killed my kids.
yeah, they kind of rally, and it's just a pitchforky type of mob that they're not strong, but they're passionate. And okay, so this will be Red Riding Hood is like, she knows that it's not gonna go well, and they have this little kind of encounter where they're trying to sneak through the town. And then there's like a time sensitive thing where they hear the villagers find the dead puppies, and they've seen the puppies shift. Once they kill them, they shift back into form, and they're like, oh God, what have we done? I killed a kid. Oh God, I killed a kid.
It's worse if it happens to be one of theirs.
Yeah, because if they killed the kid, then do they hide the kid? How do they, because that's a real dilemma, like emotionally, like that's impactful.
Yeah, and that could be some DC checks.
Oh yeah, and like it's gonna compel the adventurers, like, okay, we must absolutely come after grandma, because if they are that enraged,
Yeah,
And they have to clear their name.
Well, that would also be, ideally they would try to sneak through, probably fail because the entire village is after them.
Oh, yeah.
And then ideally they could use some RP to get out of it. Maybe intimidate them or persuade them, like, we're trying to do our best. We're here to solve this problem. But did you want these kids to be bitten too? Look, we saved 3 of these children, and work out. Or, kill some fucking, I don't know, maybe they could be bloodthirsty and kill the entire village, but I hope not.
I hope.
But I think that would be a good RP moment.
Yeah.
To have this mob, maybe do, none of them are that strong, so maybe they do get some hits in, but it's like 1 or 2 hit points.
Yeah.
And maybe
like
this is
they
a
could be
good place to
commoners.
have different NPCs that are that have different personalities. So as a game master,
Yes.
so you've got like some that are the angry parents, some are the please save us, and so they have their own conflict within one another because they have been watching what's going on.
Yes, let's make a single woman, like a single lady baker, and she is partial to the children because she's always giving them sweeties and buns.
Right.
And she's just an emotional wreck, and she's been sad for like the past 5 months while this has been happening, and you want to ally with her because she embraces the children. She treats all of them as if they are her children. She's a dwarf.
Oh, what's her name?
Let's call her Lady Maya.
Mhm.
And she's a buxom, nurturing baker in the town.
Yes.
Okay. So
And that's
what
where Little Red Riding Hood gets her baked goods from, of
Yes,
course.
of course.
To
nice.
bring to Grandma.
But I also kind of want to have someone on the opposite end, so like a woodcutter, like very gruff, human.
Yeah.
But then like sees like the kid is now his kid is now a puppy. And it's like, oh, I'll finally get some use out of this guy. So someone who's like just on the opposite horrible end, it's like is more than okay with this lazy kid now being an active puppy. It's like now he can go and fetch things.
And hunt with me. Okay.
What's his name, Ryan?
We're just keep it simple. Like his name is Max.
Ooh, Max. Max the woodcutter.
Max
That's
the
amazing.
woodcutter.
Okay, solid.
Yeah.
One more. A couple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple.
Right.
They've actually probably got like 6 kids. You know, there's the family that has just a bunch of kids, and two of them have already turned.
Mhm.
Let's say 4 of them have already turned,
Yeah.
and they're trying to save the last 2. Oh,
I wonder if we want to make this more dramatic, like during that time, a lot of like kids died in childbirth, so they had 6 kids, knowing that not all of them would survive.
right.
So it would be incredibly tragic. Like they know 4 of them turned. It's like, okay, we must absolutely save these other 2 kids, and they almost lock them up because they're like, we don't want them to be infected like the rest of the kids.
Ooh.
And one of them was the kid that you saved.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have been out of their cage.
They should not. Oh my God!
What was he doing out of his cage?
The
Samuel, get back in there.
The kids for that couple were in cages, even though they're trying to stop.
And the
Not the
puppies
puppies.
actually were strong enough to get out.
Yeah.
No, they like, okay, so we'll take, how about we take it to a playpen?
Yeah, that's
So
what they
they're-
call it.
That's it. Playpen.
There's some really hardcore playpens. Like, they're like super tall. They look like little mini jails.
Okay.
Mini jails.
Yeah.
Just no
Yeah.
barbed wire.
Oh, that's sick, Satine, and I love it. Yeah, the playpens, rigid ass steel
Wait,
rod.
I
What's the
totally
name?
want to play this adventure.
Twisted. What's a couple's name?
Tamarind and that's the
and
man.
Cantaloupe.
And Ketelopa. Tamarind and Ketelopa.
Cantaloupe. There we go.
Yeah. Awesome. Good old-fashioned fantasy names.
Yeah.
So, but they keep the unlycanthropy children in the cage,
In a cage.
uninfected. Okay.
Unaffected. And they want to keep them that way.
Yeah.
Okay. That actually is going to be a pretty decent encounter.
Yeah.
Having to go and talk to all those people. So we have a short amount of time left. We have like 5 minutes to finish this.
Okay.
So we've got the last 2 parts. We've got Grandma, and then we have Little Red Riding Hood. So let's design the encounter for Grandma.
Okay. Grandma is definitely dressed up in her, in her bonnet thing,
and the
a robe,
night robe. Yeah.
nightgown. And I think, this is how they get there.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma starts howling to summon, like, I guess she's heard that the adventurers are here, and she's kind of trying to, her last rally to save herself and the kids too. So she's trying to get them together, and they're going to abscond from the town. So she's howling, and everyone notices all the puppies are rallying to Grandma, and that's when the adventurers and Red Riding Hood's like, "Oh no, she's calling them. We don't know what she's planning. Let's get to Grandma." So they run to Grandma. She's dressed like that. She's in her wolf face, so she can't really talk.
Right.
Ideally, they see the kids and they start attacking her. Gosh, but then do you get some werepuppies? I guess we could add some. So in Final Encounters too, sometimes I like to add dumb minions that are, you know, if they get hit, they're done. You know.
A were person older than Little Red Riding Hood, like a boy.
Oh.
So it's just like, you know, just a big quiet one.
Like a little.
Her little thug. Her
little thug.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's say, yeah, he's there and rallying them. Let's get the puppies out of there. We don't really want them killing more puppies.
That's
so
true,
maybe
yeah.
he's rallying them away and she's standing like staunchly to protect them as they approach. And Red Riding Hood's like, kill her. So ideally they kill her. She shifts back and in her last dying breath, she goes, it was never me. It was my granddaughter.
I did it all for you. All for you.
And yeah, everyone's like, what are they talking about? And maybe that in her last dying breath, she can give them the true story. They can insight check. And then that's when Red Riding Hood is like, well, Grandma, you're too late. And she takes off her robe and it's Banshee City.
Okay, cool. So why don't we go to, we've got Grandma, and she's just being protective.
Yeah.
But Red Riding Hood has been with the adventurers.
Yes.
She travels with them to show them. She basically takes them to Grandma's house.
Yes.
Yeah.
That way she's there.
Yes.
And it's obvious. And they're like, oh, you're a friend. Oh, you're not our friend. So Grandma, you've got the boy, say he's like 16.
Yeah.
16.
So what is his name?
Rolf from Sound of Music.
Rolf, yes. Sounds like Wolf. So
yeah,
perfect.
it does. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So
Very charming.
it's very simple, you know, like maybe this can take place in Grandma's house. So you're actually working with the terrain of like a small living room, a kitchen, a bedroom, and like maybe another like playroom.
Yeah, give him some gas lamps to light shit on fire too.
Yeah.
I feel like things have to be set on fire.
All right. And then you have the final, which is RH, because she's hard at this time.
Yeah.
Riding Hood.
Yeah.
She's not so little anymore. She reveals herself. And yeah.
She's a banshee.
Yeah.
She's a banshee. She like monologues a bit, so we know her motivations.
Oh yeah, monologuer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is fun because
And then they get the artifact at the end too. They can have her
Cloak of Illusions.
Cloak of Illusion. That they can win that.
that is
too,
awesome.
as well
That's
as
like
the
the
bottle,
Fountain of
the
Youth.
Fountain of Youth thing.
Like that's a
Yeah.
pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty good adventure, and all her money.
And all her money,
Money,
all
yeah.
her grandma's money, all the baked goods.
We have one more. I have one more item. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
A basket of holding.
Oh my god.
They dump it out and it's just like adorable flowers. There's like nothing really in it, but yeah, Little Red Riding Hood did pick flowers.
And she's just, essentially she is also just a little girl, so she might be severely twisted and really messed up, and a banshee, but also, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna stick with their names, Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma. Very simple. It sets up expectations of what you're getting yourself into. What is the name of this adventure? It's the last part.
Little Red Riding Hoodwinked.
Are we set on this?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. LLRH hoodwinked. All right. Thank you. I can't write as fast. INK. Why is this word so long? Awesome. Thank you guys for the adventure. That was great. Yeah, that's severely twisted. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is one mind-bending adventure done. Level 4 to 6. And yeah, we only have about 10 minutes left of the show.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
I told you it goes by real fast.
Fast.
Yeah.
So TK has been in chat collecting questions. First, I want to thank the raffle winner, Javier_RS. Congratulations. We will send you the Dungeon Master's Guide book next week. Make sure TK gets all of your mailing information. Otherwise, we can't send it to you. First question is by our dear friend, Ruben.
Ruben.
Yeah. As DMs, when do you get an opportunity to play as a player? What do you look for most in your DM?
I actually look for a DM who will rein me in, because I do go out of bounds quite often, and I prefer a dungeon master who's confident enough in the adventure to be like, and you're done now, because I just you know, like,
I love that part of you.
but because I will go on, but I also need to be checked, and I like to be checked.
Noted.
Yes, I like a DM that's very clear on their expectations of what they want in a game, so that we're all playing together. So that's really important to me.
I read the question wrong, but you answered it right. It's as DMs, when you do get an opportunity to play as a player, what do you look for most in your DM? For those of you in the audience, go ahead and put your answer in chat, because that's a really good question. Next question is from Bodhi H. How do you keep notes for your long-running campaigns organized?
Google Docs, the end. I don't know how I keep them organized. I guess in the beginning, it's always, I guess I go by character, because it's always like, this character needs to know this character needs to know this. So I have each page for each character, and what they need to learn, and seeds that they planted. I try each home game to introduce one character, something big that actually pertains to the party, but it's their time to shine for that home game. So I guess by character.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing, but not with Google Docs, just a straight journal that's handwritten. And just, you know, like just the name and like any details, because most of the time when I'm DMing, half that stuff is just made up on the fly.
Right.
And so I just need to keep track of whatever detail came up. So I just keep that world consistent.
The other thing I do while I'm GMing is I actually will write out stats of the monster on an index card, because that helps me remember things, but also there's a shorthand I use that I can track easier on an index card than in the book. And if I need more details, I'll go in the book. But yeah.
Multimedia. Yeah, your
Yes.
digital, you got your
Yes.
all the little things, anything that can get you to quick reference, right?
Yeah.
I like World Anvil as well.
World Anvil. Oh, okay. I have never used that, but
neither mind.
that would be. I've seen it, and yeah,
It's
it
very
looks
sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, C.A. Berlitz. Question is, how to be aware if you are not being compassionate in your communication without spoken feedback? How to be aware if you are not being compassionate in your communication without spoken feedback?
Oh, that's really hard. That's just. I think that's just about being a person, man. Like, I don't know. That's so hard. If you're insulting someone, ideally you're empathetic enough to realize it without being told, or if it gets vibey, how do you realize that? It's just a person thing.
So what I've noticed in my games is that if a player suddenly becomes very quiet, like the moment they stop participating, I will go on a break and then go, hey, just checking in. Are you okay? Did someone do something? And at that point, when you have that one-on-one communication, then they can tell you what's wrong. And even if they don't necessarily know what's wrong,
Even if it's not,
then what I've done in the past is I've actually said, okay, let's take a break for 10 minutes. We're gonna do a private scene. Once we do that private scene, and then now they start talking again, then it's like, okay, now you're ready to come back. We continue again.
It has to do with trust, right? So one of the ways is to figure out a way to talk with them to make them feel safe with telling you how they feel. Because a lot of times when they close up or they start acting out or doing weird things, it's because they just don't know how to express themselves. And so making it whereas you're creating a safe space for them and their thoughts, where you're not going to judge them or react to what they're saying, and really just letting them say, this is how I'm feeling, and being like, I hear you, thank you.
Aww,
And then not reacting.
I didn't
And
have
even
an
if
answer for that.
really? Yeah, but like it's about your reaction, and that's what a lot of times people are afraid of, because they don't want to make you mad because you spent all that time making the adventure.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people are afraid to fail. They think whatever they're going to do is going to be so stupid, you know, that it's sort of like, I'm just gonna look foolish in front of everybody. But gaming is a wonderful safe space to take a lot of risks. So always encourage your players to take risks, because they always make for better stories.
Absolutely. And if you guys have more questions, ask them in chat just right now, or you can ask them on Twitter, Ask DMG. I just made that up today. I'm going to use it because I feel like that's something that we can all use to just kind of
that's brilliant.
Absolutely.
have more questions to bounce off of each
Yeah,
other.
not necessarily just even in this hour.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, if I can jump in. The way we built this adventure, I will say, for one-shots, I like to not... You don't have to go farther than what you know. So if you know a fairy tale, amp up that fairy tale. If you know a song or you're inspired, it's definitely all inspired by. That's what role-playing is. You're jumping into like a world that you're like, that would be cool to play around in. So you don't have to conjure ideas. All stories have already been told, so lean into that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, very short, very brief. Your house rule that's specific to you for your table of players.
I don't know that it's specific to me, but I use the rule of cool. If we can find a way to make it work, I really want it to happen, especially if it's cool. My only restriction on that is if someone else actually does have a power that is very similar to that, I don't want to, shadow them with your cool idea. Like if they have speak with animals and you're like, well, can I just speak to my familiar? It's kind of like, well, this person has it. Why don't you just ask them to do it? But definitely rule of cool all the way.
For me, it's very particular to me because I am a LARPer. I've done it for a very long time. Come dressed to game. So whether it's a piece of article of clothing, like it's a certain coat that the character would wear, or a scarf, or a necklace.
Ryan, you do it for the gram.
I do it for the gram. But it gets people into that headspace to be ready to game. And generally, they will generally speak in character for most of the time. So
That's cool.
it gives players a lot of wonderful immersion and a lot of good role-playing scenarios.
Cool. If you guys have your house rule, 1 minute is your time limit. Go ahead, make a video, and email it to the email that should be at the bottom of here. I do believe it's dndfanart@wizards.com. I believe that is true. I got the thumbs up, therefore it is true. Thank you guys so much for being here. That was really fun.
Yes!
Gosh, that felt so good.
I know, that was...
Yeah, it's a
sad too.
It's really important that we like exercise, and I feel like this kind of thing. You guys can do this too with your friends. Just play before you play. Thank you guys. Thank you to the raffle winner. Thank you to Dungeons and Dragons and to all of our sponsors and Idle Champions. I want to do a shout out to you. Congratulations on Xbox and PlayStation. Still awesome. And thank you to Maze Arcana. We have our whole production team here today. We have Steve Sprinkles, Rudy Rutenberg, Andre Barrett, Ben Grafton, Chris Nicken, and Melanie Sprinkles. Thank you, TK, so much for being my person on the ground. I don't know. We're going to make up a title for you because that's super cool. And thank you guys for spending your Sunday with us. Next up, we have Girls Guts Glory at 3 p.m. So stay tuned, and we will see you next week for the last episode of Dungeon Master's Guide until we go on break and then return. When? I don't know. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye!
We've laughed in the face of evil.